There's a hole in the bucket. There's a hole in my bucket. Dear Henry, dear Henry, there's a hole in my bucket. Henry, water. For Walter and Bonnie with love. Here's some water. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, a hole. So that's a song. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza. There's a hole. We'll fix it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. We'll fix it, dear Henry, fix it. It's a fun song. With what shall I fix it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I fix it, dear Liza? With what? With a straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With a straw, dear Henry, with a straw. Or with straw. With straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With straw, dear Henry, with straw. But the straw is too long, dear Liza, but the straw is too long. Dear Liza, it's too long. Then cut it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then cut it, dear Henry, cut it. With what? How shall I cut it, dear Liza, dear Liza? How shall I cut it, dear Liza? How shall I cut it? Well, how? With an axe, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry, with an axe, dear Henry, with an axe. But the axe is too dull, dear Liza, but the axe is too dull, dear Liza, it's too dull. I can't chop anything. It's dull, it's not sharp. Then sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry, sharpen it. On what shall I sharpen it, dear Liza, dear Liza? On what shall I sharpen it, dear Liza? On what? On a stone, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. On a stone, dear Henry, dear Henry. On a stone. But the stone is too dry, dear Liza, but the stone is too dry, dear Liza, it's dry, it's too dry, but the stone is too dry, dear Liza, but the stone is too dry, dear Liza, too dry. Then wet it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry, then wet it, dear Henry, wet it. With what shall I wet it, dear Liza, with what shall I wet it, dear Liza, with what? With water, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry, with water, dear Henry, with water. Well, how shall I carry it, dear Liza, Well, how shall I carry it, dear Liza, with? Well, how? In a bucket, dear Henry, dear Henry, in a bucket, dear Henry, in a bucket. But there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, there's a hole. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, there's a hole.